Section 1 of The Tosa Diary by Kino Tsurayuki, translated by William N. Porter. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Avai in July 2012. Oitaru wo chichitoseyo. Japanese proverb. That which is old should be treated with the respect due to a father. The Tosa Diary. It is generally a man who writes what is called a diary, but now a woman will see what she can do. Footnote. As explained in the introduction, this opening sentence means that the diary is to be written in the women's language, that is, in phonetic characters only, without the use of ideographs. And in order to be consistent, Tsurayuki writes as if he was a woman, and mentions himself only in the third person, using different names such as a certain personage, the seafarer, etc. End of footnote. Anno Domini 935, 28th of January. 1 year on the 21st day of the 12th month, a certain personage left home at the hour of the dog, 8 p.m., which was the beginning of this modest record. He had just completed the usual period of 4 or 5 years as governor of a province. Everything had been wound up, documents, etc. had been handed over, and now he was about to go down to the place of embarkation, for he was to travel on shipboard. All sorts of people, both friends and strangers, came to see him off, including many who had served him faithfully during the past years, and who sorrowed at the thought of losing him that day. There was endless bustle and confusion, and so with one thing and another the night drew on. 29th of January, 22nd day. He prayed for a calm voyage to the land of Idzumi. Fujiwara no Tokisane came to turn his horse's head, although he was to travel by sea. Footnote. Uma no hanamuke means to turn your horse's nose, which was an old expression corresponding to our stirrup cup. It gradually came to mean any kind of farewell present made to one about to start on a journey. In this case it evidently took the form of sake, and Tsurayuki himself notices how incongruous the expression is for one about to travel by sea. Elsewhere I have translated it simply to make a farewell present. End of footnote. Upper, middle, and lower classes all drank too heavily, and, wonderful to relate, there they were on the edge of the salt sea itself, all useless and incompetent. Footnote. Salt is generally used to preserve food, and one would therefore naturally expect it to preserve the travellers, but here we find them by the side of a whole ocean of salt water, atsare, literally gone bad, like tainted meat or fish. End footnote. 30th of January, 23rd day. A certain man called Yagi no Yasunori, although he was of too high rank to have been one of his regular attendants in the province, openly made him a farewell present. Perhaps he had not made a very good governor, but still the country folk usually on an occasion like this just said goodbye and then disappeared, and here was a kind keru. And here was a kind heart which was not ashamed to come back again. This word of praise for him is not due to the present he brought. 31st of January, 24th day. The chief priest made him a farewell present, and accordingly everybody, high and low, even the very boys, got so intoxicated that those who did not know how to write one word found that their feet had playfully trodden the word 10 in the sand. Footnote. This refers to the staggering footprints of the intoxicated sailors on the shore. They were illiterate men, unable to form a single ideographic character, but Tsurayuki noticed that their feet had unconsciously made the character for 10, which is similar to our sign for plus. An alternative reading is that they staggered in 10 different directions, For tomoji, if written in phonetics only as the original was, would give both meanings. There seems to be another play upon words here also, for ashi wa to, if read as one word, ashiato, means footprints. End of footnote. 1st of February, 25th day. A written invitation arrived from Government House, asking him to go and call. Footnote. This is the official residence of the Governor of Tosa, recently occupied by Tsurayuki, but now given up to his successor, the new governor. End of footnote. He accordingly went to call, and, what with one thing and another, all day and all night passed away pleasantly, till at last the day broke. 2nd February, 26th day. Still at Government House, where the entertainment grew boisterous, the host and even the servants became uproarious. With loud voices Chinese poems were declaimed, and the host, the visitor, and the other guests recited Japanese verses. The Chinese poems are not recorded here, but the following is the Japanese verse composed by the governor as host. Footnote. The Chinese poems are not given because the writer, in his assumed role of a woman, would not be supposed to understand them or be able to write them down. The same expression, karauta, or Chinese poem, is frequently used elsewhere in the diary, meaning nothing more than classical verse, that is, the tanka, of which so many examples are given. End of footnote. From the capital far across the sea I came to see my lord, but alas, 'twas all in vain, for we must now part again. Whereupon the former governor composed this in reply. I too travelled far o'er the stormy road of waves, white with crested foam. Scarce I think another man would have faced the risks we ran. There were also verses composed by many others, but they were quite worthless. Having recited these, the late and the present governors descended together. The present and the late hosts went forth hand in good fellowship and the best of spirits. 3rd of February, 27th day. They started from Otsu and began to row to Urato. His little daughter, who had been born in the capital, had died a short time previously in the province very suddenly. Footnote. This was a little girl, 9 years of age, who had been born in Kyoto, the capital, and who accompanied her father to Tosa on his appointment to the governorship. She had recently died, and her parents were inconsolable for her loss. End footnote. And now, when, as we see, he was departing in haste, what was he to say? All his love was changed to grief, for he will now have no little daughter to return with him to the capital. It was more than most men could bear, but in this case a certain personage dragged out the following verse. Though I now return to my home, the capital, sad it is to think one for whom I mourn in vain never will return again. He composed the following also upon the same occasion. Could I e'er forget what is past, I still should grieve if she were not here. Seeking for her, I should say, where's my little girl today? Such were his words. At a place named Cape Kago, the governor's brother, footnote, that is, a brother of the newly appointed governor, end footnote. Some strangers and many others hurried down to the shore with sake and other good things to bid us sad farewell, and all the people from Government House who had come here spoke softly in the kindness of their hearts. To express their grief at parting, these good people clustered together upon the seashore and dragged out the following verse, which was as heavy as a net full of fishes. Like a flock of ducks, here among the reeds are we. Deeply we regret thy departure, and we would keep thee with us if we could. Footnote. Oshi means regret, as I have translated it, but it also suggests oshidori, mandarin ducks, which, as a symbol of happy married life, might refer to Tsurayuki and his wife, while ashikamo, the ducks among the reeds, are the friends who have come to bid farewell. End footnote. On this the traveller with the greatest appreciation replied, "Sounding with my pole, bottom is there none, and thus, like the sea god's realm, bottomless my loving heart, when I think we now must part." The steersman, who had himself been freely eating and drinking sake while all this was going on, now remorselessly said that they must get away at once, for the tide was full and he feared the wind might blow and they would have a rough tossing in the ship. Footnote: this steersman, who acts as captain of the ship, is a character of great interest to Tsurayuki, who continually mentions him in the course of his diary. End footnote. Just about this time several others wrote appropriate verses. They were Chinese poems, and I have no doubt they were worthy of the occasion. A certain personage also sang a song of the East, though he was still in the land of the West. Footnote: Kai uta can mean either a song of the East or a song of the sea, and probably both meanings are intended here. The province of Koshu, which lies to the east of the capital Kyoto, is also called Kai. Saikoku, the land of the west, refers to the province of Tosa because it lies west of Kyoto. The dust blowing about in the cabin and the clouds scudding across the sky are supposed to be agitated by the beauty of the songs they have just heard sung. End footnote. While these verses were being sung, we are told, even the dust in the cabin began to blow about and the clouds to scud across the sky. That evening a stop was made at Urato, to which spot Fujiwara no Tokisane and Tachibana no Suehira followed. Footnote: these two faithful friends, Fujiwara no Tokisane and Tachibana no Suehira, follow the departing governor to Ominato, the last spot in Tosa province at which the boat stops, and bid him a final farewell 10 days later. End footnote. 4th of February, 28th day. They set out rowing from Urato and made for Ominato, where Yamaguchi no Chimine, the son of a former governor, came with sake and good things to eat, which he put aboard the boat. There will be plenty to eat and drink during the voyage. 5th of February, 29th day. They remained at Ominato, and the doctor paid a visit, in order to present some spiced sake and byakusan appropriate to the season, as well as ordinary sake. This he did from pure kindness of heart. Footnote: the doctor's present was to enable the travelers to celebrate the new year with all due honors. Spiced sake was then drunk to ensure long life. Byakusan, literally white powder, was, according to the dictionaries, a composition of Japanese pepper, cassia, campanula, and Atractyllis ovata, of which some parts, probably the roots or seeds, were dried, ground up small, mixed together, and added to the sake. End footnote. 6th of February, New Year's Day. Still they remained at the same place. The byakusan had been placed for safekeeping during the night in the ship's cabin, but the wind, which is usual at this time of year, got up and blew it all into the sea. They had nothing left to drink, no potatoes, no seaweed, and no rice cakes. The neighborhood could supply nothing of this kind, and so their wants could not be satisfied. They could do nothing more than suck the head of a trout. What must the trout have thought of everybody sucking it in turn? That day he could think of nothing but the capital, and talk of nothing but the straw rope stretched across the gates of the imperial palace, the mullet heads, and the holly. Footnote: these references are all to the customs and ceremonies of the new year. Potatoes were eaten then, to imply a wish that your family might be as numerous as the potatoes on one plant. Seaweed was a symbol of good luck and is supposed to refer to the recorded fact that when the Empress Jingo was about to embark with her armies for the subjugation of Korea in the year 202, her horses ran short of fodder, so she caused them to be fed on seaweed, which so refreshed and invigorated them that she secured a complete victory. Rice cakes made in the form of a mirror were supposed to harden the teeth if eaten at the New Year, and mullet heads were sucked, it is said, to express a wish that you might be the head of a family. Tsurayuki had no mullets, Nayoshi, but he had one trout, Oshiayu, the names of which are not very dissimilar in the original, so the ship's company did the best they could by sucking it in turn, a process which evidently struck the writer as very disgusting. His thoughts turned longingly to Kyoto, where the New Year was being celebrated in a proper manner. The straw rope with tufts of straw or cut paper at intervals was hung over the doors of houses at the New Year. It commemorated the straw rope hung across the mouth of the cave in the time of the gods, which prevented the sun goddess from retiring again after she had been enticed out. 7th of February, second day. Still at Ominato. The chief priest sent a gift of food and sake. End of section 1.